Okay, welcome to a quick technical overview breakdown of the Watto's Junkyard regional manager, Phantom Menace, Darth Maul, combined with the Ventress into a staff. So let's take a look at the four versions we got here. We have an individual uh, Darth Maul, single piece. It's very nice. Comes with uh, the sloped end with a visual crystal chamber put in there. I think you should be able to see it pretty well. Um, that's the single version you can get. And we have the staff right up here. This is basically a single unit here, a coupler in the middle, and another single unit. Uh, and they are mirrored from each other. And then you have the Ventress, which is this little tailpipe here. Look pretty nice. And then you have your Ventress / Maul combined. You have your Maul half, a Maul side coupler, Ventress side coupler, and then the rest of the Ventress. Now I'll show you how you can take one or the other and bring it into the second one. So we're going to take these off the table real quick to allow some space for the staffs. Now, these are the early prototypes. We've gone through to make a few little changes here and there, little updates, but we're very happy with how they came out. The finish is very nice. The construction is very nice. Pretty happy with it. So these are pretty involved to take apart. Not too bad, but enough. So our first step is if we want to separate these from the couplers. So you got this thumb screw and then a screw out on the side here. I don't mind any fingerprints you see on this. I've been handling these a lot, taking them apart and breaking them down quite often, making sure everything works as it should. Come on now. I'll pull this little screw out, and now our half will separate. It's a keyed connection, so there is only one way it goes in. There are keyed slots in here. We'll put, since these are basically mirrored, there's nothing really to see in the coupler here. We have these O-rings. Hidden sound venting is under the O-rings. You can't see it super well, but it's there. You can see it. So we have our sound venting under the O-rings in the middle because your speakers are most likely going to be placed here and here, so allow that air to come out. You can even take the O-ring off if you like to get a better sound vent. So since this is a mirror onto this, we're going to take this away as well. Okay. And so now we have two different types of emitter tips, basically. We have the bladed one, 7/8 blade. And if you're not looking to make an installation, you want to have a solid fixed tilt. This is our fixed blade plug, as it were. Put this back on. These fins are all individually machined and then added on there. They're not, it's not machined as part of the piece to give them as much accuracy as possible that they fit on well. This is a big rubber O-ring here. Now these front two, these are actually switches. These ones back here, these are not switches. They're just through screws. These ones, however, are actual switches, and there is movement up and down to them. You can see that when you have when you actually have your board in there, they're going to apply some pressure, and then you can get some good motion to activate the switch. Okay. If you want to separate these, there's you can't really see it inside. It's pretty deep, but there's a small screw that attaches onto these that you screw into. You might want to put some thread locker on there if you don't want it to come out, but when it's in the chassis, it's not going to matter. You have a little LED, false LED here, basically a lens. This one is kind of dropping out. You can see here. All of these little bezels have an LED that pops into them. Well, it's not an LED. It's a false LED. It's just the plastic, the acrylic cover, basically. So you can have some light on your chassis that pops out right there. Again, another rubber O-ring down here. These are pretty nice. You can see everything you see. The light's kind of bright, but yeah, not in a studio. I will put these back on in a second. Now we come on to the Ventress staff here. Again, same as before, you're going to have multiple ways to disconnect this. So the first way, we're going to pull out this red thumb screw here, which will give us one. Take out this screw here to give us the second lock point. We have achieved separation. As you can see, these are identical. But this is actually not identical because we have one difference here. This one has a cover tech on it. So this is the A side and this is the B side. As you can see on the staff, we had these connected here. One side has a cover tech, one side doesn't. Okay, so we get into this little coupler here. So the coupler is an interesting little thing. What it does, we're going to unscrew it here from the Ventress. And now, in order to ensure that these things line up, we have a keyed coupler inside. So to get into this one, you need a really big hex key. This is the one I had handy. And you're going to loosen up this big old M8 bolt that's in here. And now what the coupler consists of is a threaded insert. And you just, when you're putting it together, you're going to want to have it threaded all the way in, nice and tightly snugged, right? But in order to visualize it better, I'm going to show you this way. Okay, now inside of here, you're going to see these matched faces. We have these ridged faces with lots of little different positions. That way you can put them in and it finds a keyed location. See that? So once you screw it down, you're not going to lose your spacing. And there's enough key locations in order to align it just right. So you're going to put them together. You're going to want to find what position it needs to be in exactly to sit correctly. And then you're going to stick your screw in like this. And this nut has a keyed location in there so it doesn't slip out. Put that on, flip it over. Now, it was in the right location before. I don't know if it's in the right location now, but you'll get the idea. So once you've threaded it in and checked it out, you do it like this. Now look, oh, it's not properly aligned. So what we're going to do, we're going to come in here, going to loosen it up a little bit, and now we're going to be able to change our positioning here to get it in the right spot. So the positioning is like this, where our thumb screws are going to be in a straight line. This little screw here is not in the middle, so you don't want to align with that one. You want to be just off center of that. Once the positioning is correct, lock it down. Make sure you don't lose your position when you go for it. Oh. Now, and this is why you want this piece in there tightly, because otherwise it'll loosen itself. Stick it back in, drop our nut in there, find our position. And I'm off center hill. There we go. Get this in position. Lock it down. Now it's locked down. It's not going to go anywhere unless you want to separate the two, and then you're able to unscrew this part from here, so you can separate the two without having to get crazy at it. It's real tight on there right now, so it's not going to come out because I tightened it down nice and super. So that's the coupler. And of course, this just threads back in. See? Now the alignment on this one is just a little bit off. We're having that fixed up in the production, so pull it back a little bit. This thing just goes in there, nice and solid, and then you put your screws back in. This, if you want to go solo with the Ventress, you don't need an end cap. They have pommels that come with them. Just a simple screw off, hollow. And there we go. Now, if we want to break down the Ventress a little bit, you'll see that you have a grip section, you have a cover tech. This cover tech is black in production, so don't worry about that. We have our blade holder section, hollow. You can have some, when it's in here like this, you have these cutouts, so you can have a nice little crystal chamber in there peeking through. And boom, that comes off. You have this little switch box, which comes out. And here, there are two different sets of screws. Let me get this in place real quick. They got to be aligned right so the box can fall in its proper location. There we go. So you have two sets of screws. One screw here will hold the box down. This other screw is going to hold your piece to the inner piece. So it's a two-stage holding method to hold the box and the two parts together. Your sleeve, basically. This holds your sleeve to your second sleeve, and this one holds the actual box down. Now we'll come over here to this switch here. Get that undone. So the box consists of what you see here. So pops open. You have a 3D printed piece of plastic, and your switches are going to mount right here, bam, bam, and then with holes for the wiring to go down through. Now the switches will sit up inside of here, and then they will push tension onto this little card, this flexible card, and then there are magnets. It'll be in this piece and this piece, and matched on here. So your little card box will be magnetic. You can pop it off if you need to. And then, since you got switches on the front and the back and it's flexible, all you have to do is give a little press with the switch underneath it, and it'll depress the switch on the inside. Comes with a blade plug with an acrylic bottom on it, so that you get some shine through your little holes here. And that is our demonstration. Thanks for looking, and I look forward to seeing you on the run.